Hey guys, so we're going to start a new little segment on Sells ATVs here, talking about the different roles within a dealership, what they do, what their function is, why they exist, and why as a dealership we view that role is important not only to us but also our customers. Maybe to help shine a little light behind the curtain of where dealership is. A lot of times customers come in and they understand that the dealership's there and the dealership sells a bike or works on a bike or sells parts, but maybe doesn't understand all the intricacies that go into how that works and how it kind of fleshes out and what each person does. So, one of the things that started this topic was I was talking with one of my build and accessory guys the other day about a service advisor role and possibly them moving into that role. And what really kind of flushed out on was he had a bunch of questions about what a service advisor even does or what it is. And that kind of caught me a little off guard. He works in service. It's something I expected they would probably know. A job that they interact with regularly, a person they interact with regularly, and kind of what's entailed in that. And then it came to my attention that that's not something everybody knows. They understand the title that's there. They understand that the person greets customers and writes a repair order and tells the techs what to do. And beyond that, it's kind of lost. They don't really know much else other than that. And then it kind of struck me of, I bet my customers don't know that either. I'm going to guess that a lot of my customers that come in don't understand what a service advisor does and what the behind the scenes looks like, and why that role is really as important as it is. So let's dive a little bit into that. Not going to go too terribly deep on it, but I do want to spend a good 4 or 5 minutes talking about it here. So for starters, service advisors' main responsibility, their main job is they are to be the face of the dealership on a service repair. So when the customer calls in, when the customer is talking with the dealership, when the customer has something broken on their bike, the advisor is the person there to be communicating with. The advisor is the one that knows the warranty policy manual like the back of their hand. They're the ones that deal with the warranty companies and deal with the manufacturers on what those warranties do and don't cover, how to submit proper claims, what those claims actually mean, and what the impacts are to the dealership, to the customer, to the manufacturer. The service advisor, well beyond warranty stuff, also is the one that's able to take the language of the technicians, which sounds a little odd to say, but in the dealership world, we like to joke that technicians speak in ugga-duggas and parts guys speak in a bean counter role, and sales guys, nobody knows what they're saying. Just everybody nods their head and agrees, and that's why they're sales guys. But the advisor's job is to take the ugga-duggas and explain it to everyday folk who don't speak in torque spec. They don't speak in what it is that's actually broken on the machine. They know the machine goes wop, 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 wop when they turn left, and when they step on the gas, it doesn't go anywhere. And the technician knows that, I've got a bad wheel bearing, and when I step on the accelerator, when I step on the gas pedal, that I've got something wrong between that gas pedal input and the actual power output of the engine, and knows how to go diagnose it, and knows what wires to chase, and knows what to go look into, and they know what resources to use to get them to those points. And it's the service advisor's job to take that and explain that to your everyday customer who doesn't talk service, doesn't talk mechanical, doesn't talk any of that stuff ever for any reason, and actually help them understand what broke on their bike and how it is that we can fix it and what options are in front of us, and helps advise the customer what the best course of action would be. And oftentimes that advisor portion of the service advisor role is overlooked. A lot of times people view the service advisor as just the guy that you talk to, as just the person who's trying to sell you stuff. I just did an oil change last year. Why do I need to do an oil change this year? My husband or my brother or I looked at that freaking air filter 9 months ago. It looked just fine. I understand that I've gone on 15 rides since then and I like going in the mud, but it couldn't be that bad, right? And the advisor's job is to take that information from the technician. When the technician goes, dirty filter, need new one. and look at the pictures and ask the tech the proper questions and go in and actually be able to explain to the customer what's going on with the bike, why they need a filter, why a service is due, and be able to take that from mechanic speak and warranty speak and manufacturer speak and engineers over to your everyday customer and just go, listen, wear and tear happens on a machine, engine oil reaches an operating temperature and starts to degrade. Engine air filters are the filter for your engine. They are what filters that air coming through. And all it takes is a good couple of minutes in a dusty condition, and you can take a brand new filter and absolutely cake it, need no one. It is not something that takes long to do. Now, the advisor learning that skill set of how to advise the customer on what is a today, right now problem, and what can be a later, I need it on my radar, I need to know next time I come in that I'm probably gonna have to handle it, but it doesn't need to be done right this second, and advise the customer in those aspects and help walk them through what's an immediate concern and what needs to happen later. That advising portion of the service advisor role is huge, and it's something that I think a lot of dealership employees and customers don't realize exists. As we're training advisors and as we're talking advisors through this, first off, a basic mechanical understanding of a unit is important. I don't need somebody to be an engineer. I don't need a master technician to do this. You don't actually have to have the hands-on side with it. You just have to have the mechanical background in your brain of how do nuts and bolts fit together? How does the throttle body work? When I step on the throttle pedal, what is it? When I step on the accelerator, what is it that actually happens in the machine? What's that sequence of events that causes right foot go down, engine go vroom? There's a whole series of 15, 20, 30 steps that happen in there. I need somebody as an advisor who has the ability to slow the conversation down and have that portion of the conversation of here's what we found and why that wire being frayed is causing a drivability concern that when you step on the gas, engine don't go vroom. Okay? Because technician goes, oh, I found a frayed wire, need wire repair. We'll advise and continue diagnostic after wire repair. And customers, well, is the wire repair causing it or not? Like, is the frayed wire causing the problem or not? And somebody to be able to slow that conversation down and explain kind of step by step how that sequence works is such a huge part of that advisor role that just people don't understand until they actually meet a professional service advisor who helps walk them through a complex repair. And then suddenly light bulb clicks, because that person's their best friend. I understood what was happening with my bike, my car. I understood what we were going to do next. I understood if I go left, what happens? If I go right, what happens? If I choose option A or option B, if I do a wiring repair on it compared to if we replace that segment of wiring harness, is this something that can get away with a little bit of a repair, or do I need a full replacement? Advise me one way or the other on that. Why is one repair preferred over the other? What about my driving circumstance would lead me that one option's better than the other? And then what is it that can come after that? Say we do a repair, so we do a wiring replacement. What is it next that we're testing? What do we expect to gain out of this? And what do we see other than just frayed wire that makes us go, ooh, that needs to be fixed before I move to the next step? Did we own test it? Did we test for freaking draw? Did we test for anything in there that causes a continuity issue? Maybe a signal's getting lost. Maybe we do have power going from it, but not enough power to trigger the next step. And so that advisor role is not something that you can just take your average person and jam them into that role and expect them to be able to be fluent enough in just everyday language to take ugga-duggas and ooh, bad wire, engine no go vroom, and explain it to your customer of actually what it is that's going on, what the tech found, and kind of read between the lines with what the technician's putting in there, because the technician's trying to be nice and concise, nice and smooth and fast so they can get to the next job and get to the next repair. And so their whole goal is I get in, here's the diagnostic process I followed, here's the steps I followed, here's the results I got, and here's what it led to. And in order for me to get to the follow-up steps, in order for me to get to the follow-on, I need to have this 100% know it's right, know it's good, or here's what I'm able to test beyond that, that also led me back to this is still bad, but these following things I think might be good, and here's why. Maybe I was able to supply power elsewhere and get a known result that we expect that would also help isolate that wire as being the first repair. Maybe not even the complete repair, but that first step, and sometimes the only step that's needed. And so it's really interesting, having come from a background of service, to kind of understand and slow down of like, oh, people don't realize what goes into that job. They don't realize that the dealership has expectations for how much gets sold and how much work goes through the shop and how productive techs are. And that customers have expectation for how much their warranty covers. And they're frustrated because the bike they're spending a bunch of money on that they bought a warranty for is now broken and sitting in the shop, and they're missing weekends with the machine that they work hard Monday through Friday to pay for, that now is sitting there and they feel like they're paying for nothing. And then it's super hard with the technicians of, man, I feel like every job you give me is a complex wiring one, and the guy next to me, you're giving him oil changes, you're giving him gravy work and giving him easy stuff. And they don't realize that as you're dishing the work out and kind of going through it is, man, I've had a conversation with this customer. I've committed to a timetable on this customer. I understand where you're at with the repair that you're on. I know that you're not going to reach a good stopping point or a good pausing point to be able to knock this service out that you view as easy work and work that you wish you just were full of 5 days a week, by the timetable that the customer has that they need to get the bike back at. But this guy over here can get to it. He is between big repairs. He has the ability to get 2 of these in and out real fast. And I can help keep those customers that don't need to be waiting a long time. They're not waiting on parts. They're not waiting on diagnostic. They're not waiting on approval from warranty companies to get their machine, get back out, hopefully just go get lunch and come right back and pick their bike up. And so it's something where trying to have all those conversations and understand kind of the trifecta of pressure that's coming into that role, and how everybody has overall the same obligations for that role, or the same expectations for that role. They expect it to be done. They expect it to be done right. They expect it to be done fast. They expect it to have a certain cost or a certain value, and they expect it to bring in a certain amount of income for the dealership, for the technician, for the employees, for the customer. They expect the bike to be clean when they get it back. They expect that if there's any hiccups that ever along the way that they get an update. And they expect that the advisor who doesn't look up the parts, doesn't order the parts, doesn't find out if parts are coming or not, isn't the technician back there that realizes the bolt strip that they didn't know before, and isn't the wash bay guy who's back there trying to knock all the mud off to get to the parts that are needed, to get to the bolts that are needed to do this repair. He's not any of those people and doesn't actually know the moment there's a problem without receiving all that data in at all times about every repair. It's also not abnormal for an advisor to have 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 ROs that are constantly evolving through the shop, and it's their job to know the status of each one at all times. And so suddenly you realize, man, when I'm interviewing for an advisor, when I'm talking to somebody about being an advisor who's never done it before, and I'm trying to take somebody green who has no bad habits, who still has a good, positive, customer-facing face, that suddenly I need to make sure they know what they're getting into. And that sometimes when you go meet that advisor for that oil change, and you're dropping your car off because they told you could get the first one free, and the guy looks like he's having a bit of a rough day, and you're like, man, I'm just here for an oil change. I don't know why this is a problem. It's not you. It is the compounding effect of feeling the weight of expectation that everybody from the dealership to the customer, to the technician, to yourself has on you and the job that you do. And so as I was talking to this guy about possibly filling an advisor role, and I felt the need to slow down and go, okay, well, I want to make sure you understand everything you're getting into here. I want to make sure that we're having a conversation, not just about a pathway forward for you, but also a realistic understanding of what is required for that role and the plateau that you have to step up to. You're no longer worried about your work. This isn't about what you do. This is about what every technician in the shop and every parts guy and every FedEx and UPS driver getting it to you on time, and the shipping receiving person, and the administrative personnel who's trying to make sure that everything's processed, and the warranty claim person who you submit all the warranty through and you're waiting for your warranty company to call you back, or you're waiting for one of the brand manufacturers to give you a thumbs up or thumbs down on whether or not you can order the parts, whether or not the repair is covered. You're relying on every piece of that and your ability to control that situation and that circumstance. That's your job. Your job's not about what you do. Your job is about quite literally herding cats. They all are scared. They all run different directions, and it's your job to kind of corral them together and get them going towards, I need a good repaired bike that I can get back to the customer, and I need to make sure that the shop is profitable while it does it, and the customer and the warranty company don't feel gouged, and that I present enough value to the situation that everybody steps away feeling like they got what they needed. So yeah, I kind of hope this helps. Next time you go in for an oil change, just be aware the person you're talking to may not have had a great day before you got there. It's always nice as an advisor or as somebody on the service drive to have that customer who shows up and has a smile and says hi and is polite and reminds you that we're all just people. We're all just here to ultimately exchange goods and services and achieve the same thing, which is I want it fixed, I want it done quickly, I don't want it to cost too much, and I'd love to not see you again as a customer. The customers don't want to be in service. They're there because it broke and their expensive thing is going to cost more money. They're the only customer-facing employee I have that legitimately just deals with cranky customers every day. Nobody buys a bike from a sales guy when they're cranky. Nobody goes and is cranky with the parts guy when they order that new accessory and that new light bar. But almost everybody's a bit cranky when they drop off with service because that expensive toy broke and it's not running right, and the wife's angry that your expensive toy broke and it's going to cost more money. So we as a dealership understand it. We get it. We're here for you. Either way, hope it helps. See y'all next time. By the way, like and follow for more. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into some of these jobs. Thanks, guys.